Welcome back. The viewers joined us to watch the news at 10 on Channels Television, coming to you from Lagos. A reminder of our major stories tonight. Department of State Services accuses River State Governor Nyesom Wike of plotting to disrupt governance by provoking violence in the nation's capital. Governor Wike dismisses DSS accusation as a false and baseless alarm, accuses agency of scaremongering and blackmail. Governors of Northwest Nigeria states meet in Kaduna, seek mutual approach to reviving agriculture and boosting regional security. And U.S. President-elect Donald Trump advocates United States nuclear arsenal expansion. To remember all our top stories, you can find on our website, channelstv.com, and on youtube.com/channelsweb. Log on to m.channelstv.com to view us live on a mobile device. You can also download the Channels TV app for Android, iOS, and Windows phones from their respective stores. Having the Channels TV and Channels 24 app will give you access to news and updates. You can also have the eyewitness feature so you can be part of the news. Just install the app, tap and swipe to reveal the eyewitness menu, and follow the instructions to share those pictures, videos, or news of happenings around you. Just yesterday, the federal government announced the introduction of a new policy which will ensure whistleblowers are protected and rewarded for exposing cases of economic and financial crimes. This initiative, which is expected to run online, is expected to aid the government, prosecute individuals and groups that violate financial regulations in the public and private sectors. Joining me now on the news at 10 to examine this proposed policy is a legal practitioner, Mr. Joshua Alogu. He joins me from our studios in Abuja. Mr. Alogu, I'm glad you could join us on the news at 10 tonight.
Thank you.
Who exactly would you say qualifies as a whistleblower?
A whistleblower is any person that can be corporate or individual that have a privileged information about a financial transaction that is done illegally in contravention of laid down rules. By exposing such transaction, that means that it has a prior knowledge of the transaction. That means that it's an insider to some extent. It can be a PA, like what happened in Ekiti State, where a PA, the orderly to a major general, recorded the transaction between his boss and the other political actors. And when he released those videos, it created a lot of uproar as to the transparency of the election, the money that was exchanged. So usually a whistleblower must be an insider. Otherwise, you cannot get a real information.
So should there be the option of anonymity? Would that affect the credibility of the information being given?
No, it will not necessarily. And if you look at the whistleblower and you look at other jurisdictions, you must also take into cognizance the structural incentive. What makes corruption thrive is because we celebrate corrupt people. We know those persons because they live above their means, and most of the PAs are the ones that run errands. If you recall what happened during the time of Tafa Balogun, it was his PA that, because of one transaction that went awry, that it disclosed every aspect of the property that was owned by the former IGP, that is Tafa Balogun. That means that for anonymity, the person must at the same time have an inside working relationship with the person in order for him to give a credible eyewitness report. Otherwise, within the confines of the law, it will be deemed to be a hearsay evidence.
Mr. Logo, we're waiting to see how this new policy plays out in the next few days, but following a whistleblower's report, there should be an investigation. If it's against a government official, should that government official be immune to checks if allegations are brought before or made about that particular government official?
I think that question is very fundamental within Nigeria criminal jurisprudence, because we have not actually appreciated the essence of immunity. Immunity within Nigeria Constitution covers only 4 office holders. That is the president, vice president, governor, and deputy governor. So irrespective of the high-ranking office, such as the Senate President, the Chief Justice of Nigeria, down to the ministers, there is no immunity in criminality. It's very fundamental. But we play politics and we bring religiosity or sentiment into a cankerous, monstrous virus that is killing the foundation of Nigeria. So the issue of immunity will not arise once the whistleblower have brought information that there's prima facie evidence based on the investigation from the relevant authority. And for that to be effective, the institution must be independent. The institution must not be built within an individual, because that is the challenge we have in Nigeria. We wait for prompting before investigating weighty allegations. There are a lot of files that still lie dormant in the office of EFCC to date. But once the person is on the other side of the political party, it seems to be a saint. So if we want to make this initiative or policy credible, workable, and doable, the institution for such as EFCC, ICP, and DSS must act on the petition from any person that you feel that those evidence is credible. And the other dimension I want us to look in this whistleblower issue is within the financial regulation system or institution. A lot of accounts, as I speak, lie dormant in billions. And if you recall, there was a brief that was given by the Attorney General to Judge Ubo, the MD of PASS, that is Panic Alert Security System. There's a lot of money because BVN that a lot of people cannot lay claim to as we speak. So what happened to those banks? And if you recall, within EFCC, there is this National Financial Intelligence Unit that ought to trigger unusual alert and also report to CBN. But if those institutions are not working, it will just be a comedy to divert the populace from the real issue. If not, it's a commendable and plausible way of rewarding the system. It's more like recovering of property or debt within the civil procedure. You know, when you recover a debt, you are entitled to 10%, but if the magnitude of the amount is so bulky or huge, the percentage can be negotiated. So it's not a novel issue, but we must look at the workability of the whole initiative. If the powder bill will allow it to work against any person that is suspected to have corruptly enriched himself, and there's a credible information that have been disposed by the whistleblower, then the system will work effectively for Nigeria.
Mr. Joshua Logo, I appreciate you bringing up all of those cases and joining us tonight on the News at 10 to discuss this new policy. We'll wait and see how it plays out in the next few days. Mr. Joshua Logo, a legal practitioner from Abuja. I was saying in Abuja, here's Linda Akigbe now, who has more on the News at 10. Hi, Linda.
Hello, Amarachi. Now, residents of the Federal Capital Territory can now watch 30 free-to-air channels with nearly 70% local content on their television sets. This follows the federal government's launch of a digital switchover scheme in Abuja. The Vice President, Professor Yemi Oshibajo, says 6 more states from each of the nation's geopolitical zones will be switched over to digital broadcasting in coming months.
It took Pinnacle Broadcast Limited, the signal distributor for Nigeria's digital switchover plan in Abuja, roughly 8 weeks to set up this signal distribution center in Pape, Abuja. This is where the switch over from analog to digital broadcasting in the FCT will be controlled from.
And to the glory of God.
The Vice President, who officially launched the switchover, which comes barely 7 months after the pilot phase in Jos, the Plateau State capital, says the 2017 deadline is a must, as the Information Minister recounts the prospects.
Let me state for emphasis that this government is irreversibly committed to meeting the June 2017 deadline for the switchover in the West African sub-region, and also to the rollout of the digital switchover in all the states of the Federation.
We are going as a government to forbid all forms of monopoly so that all Nigerians can get access to all types of content without having to expend money on multiple devices.
The June 2017 timeline for national switchover presents huge financial and infrastructural challenges, but the Director General of the Broadcasting Commission promises exciting days ahead, just as other key players.
In the next few months, our thinking is that we should work on switching on 6 states, chosen from each of Nigeria's 6 geopolitical zones.
This box for now in Nigeria is costing 1,500 because the federal government of Nigeria has fully subsidized the box. All the electronic shops, they are available in self-installation. As you get to one, all you need to do is to get the box. There's a power supply, you put it, there's an antenna, just fix it on top of it, just like this is installed here, and you get the channels free of charge. You don't have to pay anything.
There is more government commitment and funding, as well as synergy among communication stakeholders. With these 3 components which were lacking in previous years, there is optimism that Nigeria's broadcasting will be fully digitized come June 2017. Omelogo Nadi, Channels Television News.
The Minister of Health, Professor Isaac Adewale, has affirmed the federal government's resolve to revitalize 10,000 primary healthcare facilities across the country. The objective is aimed at reducing vaccine-preventable diseases among children. According to the minister, health authorities will spend over 500 million naira to upgrade 109 primary healthcare centers across all senatorial districts in the first phase of the project.
What we want to do is to bring health to the doorstep of our people. And the only way to do that is to deliver health through a network of functional PHCs. And this one represents one of the PHCs that we tend to have all over the country. Working with the state government and development partners, we intend to have at least 10,000 of these working across the country. And when we have them working across the country, we can serve a large number of Nigerians.
Now to politics. The All Progressives Grand Alliance has been speaking on ways to move the party forward ahead of the coming elections. After its first National Executive Committee meeting in Awka, the Anambra State capital, top party officials agreed to strengthen the internal democracy and maintain discipline within its ranks. The party also commended the leadership of the Anambra State government for its landmark achievements.
Relating to the development of our country and the progress of the All Progressives Grand Alliance. And we took quite a number of decisions which will define the motion of our party in the coming months and years. We also discussed extensively the transformation of Anambra State under the able leadership of our national party leader, Governor Obiano, since his inception here in March 2014. We discussed the revolutionary programs of development in Anambra State, which cut across different sectors of the state's economy and social life. In recent times, there have been 2 major cases of discipline in the party. The National Working Committee took decisions to enforce discipline by disciplining members that have erred against the Constitution. We unanimously endorsed those decisions, and whoever has any appeal had to take it back to the National Working Committee.
When the News at 10 returns, Nigerian Insurance Commission to commence recapitalization requirements for the sector in 2017. As some business news, join us again.